They say betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the ones who shake your hand with a smile and stab at you while offering sugar for your coffee. I learned that the hard way, sitting in a polished cafe downtown, sipping on a cappuccino that had more foam than honesty in the man across from me. He was wearing his usual smirk, the kind that only people in power develop after years of thinking they're untouchable. His name was Martin Kane, Chief Strategy Officer of the multinational corporation I had helped build from the ground up. And in the next 49 seconds, he was going to fire me. I wasn't naive. I'd seen the signs. The sudden closed-door meetings I wasn't invited to. The way my name started to vanish from key emails. The budget approvals that were mysteriously delayed. Still, part of me clung to the belief that my work, my loyalty, my results would protect me. After all, I wasn't just another employee. I was the architect behind the operations platform that fueled our entire logistics system across 9 countries. I had designed it, tested it, maintained it, and most importantly, safeguarded the kill switch. The thing is, I never imagined I'd have to use it. Martin stirred his coffee, not bothering to look me in the eye as he began his rehearsed monologues. Something about restructuring, global alignment, new leadership vision. His voice was butter smooth, almost apologetic, but his eyes, when he finally did meet mine, were cold and victorious. I watched his mouth move as he said the words, "Your services are no longer required." 49 seconds. That's how long it took him to erase 10 years of dedication. I didn't flinch, didn't argue. I nodded, stood up slowly, and gave him a smile that didn't reach my eyes. I told him, "No hard feelings, Martin. Enjoy your coffee." Then I turned and walked away, calm, quiet, invisible, exactly how they wanted me to feel. But what Martin didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I had one final move left, and it would bring the entire machine to a screeching halt. As I stepped out into the sunlight, my phone vibrated. A message from my assistant. "Just saw the org chart. You've been removed from everything. No goodbye, no severance details, not even an official termination email. They wanted me erased, fast and clean, like I never existed." That was their first mistake. I walked into my apartment like a man returning from war, not in defeat, but in strategy. I didn't need time to process. I already had the plan. Years ago, when I built the infrastructure for our global logistics system, I created a layered redundancy protocol. On the surface, it was just a failsafe to protect against cyber attacks and internal sabotage. But underneath, there was a hidden line of code, a sequence only I knew, that acted as a hard lock, an irreversible shutdown trigger. You don't spend years building something without knowing how to unbuild it. My laptop powered on with a familiar hum. I opened the encrypted interface, typed in my old credentials. They hadn't revoked them yet, and smiled. They'd moved so quickly to eliminate me. They'd forgotten the basics: access, privileges, root control. The moment I logged in, I saw the system heartbeat thumping away, each pulse connecting millions of transactions across 9 countries. Cargo routes, customs clearances, vendor syncs, warehouse data, and fleet coordination, all relying on the core engine I had built. With steady fingers, I opened the kill switch module. A prompt blinked. Confirm authorization code. I hesitated, not because I doubted what I was about to do, but because I understood the gravity. Thousands of employees would be frozen out. Billions in revenue would be suspended. Markets would react. Questions would erupt. But sometimes, destruction is the only language betrayal understands. I typed exactly 14 words. Not 15, not 13, 14. It was a phrase I had embedded deep in the logic chain. Phrase that couldn't be guessed or overridden. One press of the enter key, and the command would execute across all nodes, irreversibly and simultaneously. I hit enter. The screen flashed once, then silence. The heartbeat flatlined. Across 9 countries, screens turned black. Systems froze. Supply chains halted. Shipments disappeared from dashboards. Fleet trackers stopped reporting. Warehouse doors that relied on automated triggers stayed shut. Vendors started calling. Partners started panicking. And in the boardroom of our headquarters, someone finally said, "Where's the root engineer?" But I wasn't in the building anymore. I wasn't on the payroll. I wasn't even in the system. I was the ghost in the wires, the man they thought they erased, and I had just reminded them who held the real power. 2 hours later, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I didn't answer. Then came a message from the interim CTO. "Please call us back. Something critical has occurred." Then another. Martin himself finally messaged me. "Call me. We need to talk. This is serious." I stared at his words for a moment, imagining the look on his face as he realized the empire he tried to steal from me was built on code only I could control. I sent him a single reply. "Now my services are required." No answer. I turned off my phone. The thing people like Martin never understand is that you don't fire the architect without studying the blueprints, and you don't betray the builder of the house unless you're ready to live in the ruins. I didn't want revenge when I built that code. It wasn't about payback when I embedded the 14-word command. It was about insurance. Because in a world where loyalty is traded like stock options, you need leverage more than you need trust. I left the city that evening, took a flight to a place where no one knew my name, watched the news from a quiet hotel room while sipping coffee that I made myself. The headlines were already rolling in. Global logistics, giant faces, unprecedented shutdown, supply chain nightmare, across 9 countries, internal sabotage suspected, amid executive shakeup. They would never admit the real story. They'd blame a cyber attack or some rogue developer, maybe even try to pin it on a junior engineer. But deep inside, everyone who mattered knew the truth. The ones who were in that cafe, the ones who stood by and watched me walk away without a word, the ones who forgot that the foundation doesn't scream, it waits for the right crack to split the tower in half. By the 3rd day, my credentials were finally revoked. But it was too late. The damage was done. The system wasn't just down. It was unrecoverable without my original keys. And those, well, let's just say they weren't saved in any cloud. I didn't need money. I didn't want a lawsuit. I just wanted silence. And silence is exactly what they gave me. After the panic passed, weeks later, I received a letter. No return address, no signature, just a simple envelope with a check. Inside, 7 figures, and a note that read, "Consider this a peace offering. We will never speak of this again." I burned the check, kept the note, because some victories don't come in dollars. They come in the satisfaction of knowing that the system tried to erase you, and you became the one thing it couldn't replace. Now, whenever I hear someone boasting about loyalty in business, I smile. Loyalty, it's currency, and like all currencies, it loses value when printed too much. I wasn't loyal to the company. I was loyal to my work, to the integrity of what I built, and they spat on it the moment they chose ego over wisdom. Somewhere out there, Martin still has his title, still drinks his coffee, still wears his smug suits, but he knows what it cost him. And every time a system glitches, every time a file goes missing, or a delay ripples through the network, I hope he wonders, is he still watching? Because I am. Not for revenge, not for power, just for the lesson. You don't discard the architect, not unless you're ready to live in the rubble. And if you do, then remember, sometimes all it takes is 14 words